Hello, this is Mike, NoStressMike.com. And today I do my morning exercises and stuff like that, and then I take Rex and we go someplace and I run her, and I run too. And where I I was at the theater, and I parked on one side, and and I guess right after I pulled in, another guy pulled in on the other side of the theater. So right when I started running, I ran around the theater, and there he was. And I've met him there before, and we've talked. And we were talking some more, and uh, he was talking about some of the weird places that he's been. And one of the things that we got started talking on was racial stuff. And as I was listening to him, because he doesn't know all the racial stuff that I've been involved in, and so I'm listening to him and all the stuff that's happened, and he didn't have any problems, but there was always somebody there to watch over him, make sure he got on the right bus, and make sure he got off at the right place, and so that's the way his experience was. And then it dawned on me, as he was talking, I was going to ask him how, because he's about my age, and I wanted to ask him, how did the racial problems stop? And I think I know, but I know how I stopped it around me. And I think because it got to it escalated to such a high point that you had to do something. And but anyway, what made me start thinking as he was talking was, I don't think, for one thing, I don't like it when people even talk about racial stuff, and the reason is they have an attitude. And with that attitude, it's what's getting it going. And their attitude gets them more upset and more upset all the time. That's why I only know one way to stop it. And but anyway, it started making me think. I don't racial here in the United States. And the reason I'm saying here in the United States is because we are made up of all different types of religions, races, colors, all kinds of stuff. And for us to prosper, we had to get along. Now, I've noticed all the other countries that I've gone to, they're kind of set in their ways, and anything different, they kind of get an attitude. So I'm thinking racial stuff is attitude. And so I'm thinking, okay, why do these people get that attitude? And some of it is like it'd be easy enough for me to have a racial attitude because I was picked on by the whites and the blacks when I was young. So I guess, be easy enough for me to have an attitude. But the one thing I noticed, not all the whites were like that, not all the blacks were like that. Which ones were like that? The ones with the attitude. They're the ones, well, you don't like me just because I'm white, well, you won't let me do this because I'm black. When their attitude is their color holds them back, or their religion, or all this kind of stuff holds them back, that tells you they've got an attitude problem. And now, and I think most reasonable people understand. If you're the foreman, you're the one in charge, and this white guy is doing piss poor work, and then you tell him, hey, I'm gonna have to fire you. You're not doing any good. And then he'll say, well, you're firing me because I'm white. You know, no, you know, you got an attitude. To me, that's a good reason to fire you, because with that attitude, it's going to cause problems later on in everything else. But it's not your color. You are incapable of doing the job that we require from you, and it don't matter what color you are. But for you, you've got it. It's in your mind with your attitude. You think it's your color, and it doesn't have anything to do with your color. You're just not capable. This is what makes me mad when they've dropped standards on everything. Everything. They've kept dropping standards and standards to allow other people to get involved. And when the standards drop, so does the quality of the work, the product, the services. Once they allow the standards to drop. And now, to me, I never had. Let's see, how do I say this? In my businesses, I've never had racial problems or gender problems or any of this kind of stuff. And the reason is, I know somebody's got an attitude. When you have your attitude, you're gone. I can get rid of you right there. I look for an attitude when I'm just checking to see if this is the person I want to work. And if in case I miss it and I see that attitude coming up later on, I get rid of you then. And I'm sure some of these people with that attitude, once you get that attitude, once these people, I fire them, they're going to say, man, I hate Chinamen. And they're going to come up with some funky excuse because I fired them. And that's why they're going to hate Chinamen. So, I mean, it doesn't make any difference. If you've got a bad attitude, you're going to have a problem. Now, how do these people get these attitudes? That's the thing I've been thinking about. And the thing is, like I say, I don't believe we are born with this. Now, I might be wrong on all this, but I'm thinking about it, and I don't think we're born with this. I don't think this is something that it kind of, as we mature, we just become racist. The thing is, it's an attitude that you've learned. Some way or another, you've learned this attitude. And this is why I think it's funny, Black Lives Matter. Now, who the hell would even come up with something so stupid? Okay, that's like me saying Chinaman lives matter. I mean, what the hell is that? That's stupid. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm thinking, okay, these people that come up with that, what they're trying to do is teach other people, give them this attitude. And then now once they get this attitude, now we got to deal with it. And then, but you already know I'm not big on mixing races when you're having children. Because as a child, now you've got, am I this race or am I that race? You get confused. And I really didn't get confused. I knew, because I was surrounded by Chinamen all the time, so I just kind of took it for granted I was Chinese, even though the Chinese ridiculed me and gave me trouble all the time because I'm not Chinese. I'm half white, so I'm not Chinese. So so I know how this stuff is done, and that's why I don't want children to go through all this stuff, because I like the different cultures, and you lose your culture once you're mixed. And I've seen it all the time. There's no exception to that rule. They always lose their culture, and that's what happens when you come in the United States. In time, second, third generation, you're losing your culture. You're going to do it even when you are married into your culture. But then, as your culture, there's certain things if you're bred in your culture, there's certain things you can expect from this person. When you get it mixed up, then things get kind of changed. I'm a good example of that. I'm not the white and the Chinese doesn't show in me. It's kind of different, and so this is why I say you're going to have this attitude is coming from somewhere. They're being taught this, and this is why it makes sense when you hear all the stuff they're teaching in school, they're teaching in the military. They're trying to put this stuff on us. It's like, when they're talking about the Trump supporters are racist. Where does this come from? There's no, there's nothing. That tells you these people have an attitude. That's why when anybody accuses me of racist, I automatically know they are the racist ones because they've got that crappy attitude. And it's not that complicated. They learned it from somewhere. They have a problem. Believe me, it's not us. For you to have to see it and say it, you're the one with the problem. The best way to deal with racism is to ignore it and move on. But I say, if you want to keep stroking the fire, you're going to have it. This is Mike, NoStressMike.com.